story that must be told. Here's a little story from beginning to end. Here's a little story that must be told. Here's a little story that must be told. Here's a little story that must be told. Here's a little story from beginning to end. Here's a little story that must be told. Here's a little story that must be told. Here's a little story that must be told. Here's a little story from beginning to end.
What's good, people? Welcome to I Gotta Do This podcast real quick. I'm your host, Wise, aka Hambone Jones, aka your cool ass homie. This is the first episode. This is the inaugural, so this one is extremely special because I'm sharing this with y'all. It's the I finally did it. Yeah, and the reason I feel that way about it is because I've been trying to do this for a while. You know, I've been in my head going back and forth about if anybody even wanted to listen. You know, that's still not going to stop me from saying what I got to say. That's why we all are here. It's just to hear what I want to talk about. Before getting into all of that, you know, I just want to tell you a little bit about me. You know, I'm from Jacksonville, Florida, born and raised. Shout out Duval County. Love the Jaguars. You can't tell me that any other team is better, even though I am fully aware of our record and our history. That still ain't gonna stop me from bleeding teal and gold. So toss that out the window. You come with the Jaguar slander, I ain't for it. We not doing it. Nope, not here. I'm a big gamer, huge gamer. Like, my mom and dad had a Nintendo, the NES, before I was born, and they were already on it, so kind of inherited that. But my first actual console was a Sega Genesis. I played Sonic 2 till the damn cartridge had the little thing in it when you shook it. When you heard whatever that little loose piece was inside, when you heard that, you knew that thing was finna be through. I'm big on music, huge music fan. Been making beats since about 2005. Yeah. Oh, smooth 20 years. Okay. Yeah, I've been making beats since 2005. Starting at my origins, though, I played the violin. I think it was first grade. First grade, I started playing the violin. Played that through the sixth grade. Fifth grade, I picked up the saxophone at the same time. The band in the elementary school was the band. That's all I could say. But I was more into the violin anyway. But unfortunately, the school that I went to didn't have anything orchestra related. So let's go with something that I can still do my music with, because I'm not a singer. My family, yeah, all of them, they pretty decent, but not me. I didn't get that. So stayed with the saxophone, got onto that in the 7th grade, and stayed with that until graduation. My love for any jazzy type music, like I love jazz, like just hands down. Whenever you need that break away from the constant rap, hip hop, whatever you want to call it, plus you want something that sounds good instrumentally. You know, no slight against rappers or R&B singers, because I love R&B. Shit, Erykah Badu is like one of my fucking favorite artists. Nothing against those, but, you know, jazz just has a different feel for me. And nothing like hearing some Miles Davis. Like I said, huge music fan. I love movies. Like, I'm a big MCU fan. Start there first. You know, and that's not just like, oh, you just like these recently. I like the comic books. You know what I'm saying? I'm not as deep as some people are with the comics, but I know enough. I still look to, you know, find out more about it, because right now I'm actually reading through The Age of Apocalypse. I'm reading through that right now. I'm just trying to see how those stories, because these are the ones I keep hearing are like some of the best stories. Trying to go through and read through Age of Apocalypse. I did start reading The Secret Wars. I did start reading that, which is crazy. And just decided to start all the way over on X-Men. I'm currently in the Dark Phoenix saga with that. I finished the Phoenix saga, but All that stuff is wild. That's all I got to say. Like, for the people who haven't read the comics, we're in the age now where you could just look that up. You can find somewhere to read that, and man, it's some storylines that'll really have you like, what are y'all doing, MCU? What are you doing, Marvel? Adapt this. But I'm assuming it's just not that easy. And granted, I do know that they weren't sitting on the rights to the X-Men, so they just kind of got those. So I give them some time. I let them breathe. I'm also one of the Marvel fans that don't believe that these shows and this last phase has been a bust. I do feel like there was some missed opportunities in certain areas. You know, a lot of that stuff, I feel like they'll iron it out or whatever, because this is the end of the multiverse saga. So, hey, it is what it is. I do like everything that's come out so far, though. I don't think there's anything that I can say I personally feel is just like, oh, that was trash. They should have never did that shit. Nah, I don't feel like that. But I do have a gripe, though, right now, because of how everything stands with Captain America, Brave New World versus the Thunderbolts. I did like both movies, and the Thunderbolts did have my two favorite people in the MCU in there, which is Yelena and Alexei, the Red Guardian. That did have my two favorite people, but I kind of feel like Captain America was the better movie. And I'm not even going to say kind of. I do feel like Captain America was the better movie. But they put the Thunderbolts on this huge pedestal. Again, it's a good movie. I'm not saying it's not a good movie. But I don't feel like it was better than Captain America. That's just me. That's just me. My favorite movie is actually two movies. My favorite movies are Ferris Bueller's Day Off and Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. The original. Not Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, but Willy Wonka. Now, I love all movies in between, though. I'm a huge comedy fan. I loved all of the house parties, all of the Friday. Well, wait. I liked House Party 1, 2, and 3 because I did know they came out with one, I think, a couple years back. I never saw that one. And I want to say they had a fourth one that came out. If I can, unless that was some type of spinoff of the movie. I'm not sure. But I like 1, 2, and 3. Of course, I love Friday. Like all three of those. The third one I don't feel is as bad as people make it. It's just compared to the first two, it's just like, nah, dog. So it's actually not that bad. It beat out a lot of other comedies, to be real. Harlem Nights, Coming to America, Life. But yeah, love movies. Love Tarantino movies, too. Reservoir Dogs, definitely one of my favorite movies. Both Kill Bills was the shit. Pulp Fiction. But I will say, The Hateful Eight, I didn't see that one. So I'm slacking on that. I did like Inglourious Basterds, though. I'm big on movies. I'll just say that. One genre that I do not mess with, though, is horror movies. And I'm not talking slasher films. I'm not talking those. I'm not talking about monster films. I'm talking the horrors that deal with the psychological and the supernatural. You can keep those. My girl showed me this movie called Hereditary, and when I tell you that scared every bit of, oh, I'm tough. That scared all that shit out, turned me into a baby, and I promise I had to watch, what was it? Was it SpongeBob? I had to watch some cartoon that I think I started watching Kim Possible or something like that. Like, it was some cartoon that I had to watch for a minute to kind of get my head back together because I was like, oh no. And then she tells me, oh, it's one of those movies, the more you watch it, the more, I'm not watching that shit again. Nah, hell no. I can't do it. So, needless to say, I don't deal with horror movies like that. I can't do it. It's not for me. Hey, we need people like that in the world so they can watch the stuff that I don't. And that's one of them, definitely. That's my movies. But also, I love anime. I am a bit older with my anime though. I'm more used to watching the anime movies because when I was growing up, we didn't have a bunch of shows. Like the shows really didn't come. Well, we didn't have a lot of the shows on TV like they had now. Like Toonami literally came out when I was going to middle school. I want to say, it was stuff like that. So it wasn't already televised. Plus, we didn't have like Crunchyroll and all that shit like back then. So, a lot of stuff I am trying to catch up on. But I'm a huge Dragon Ball fan. I'm a Dragon Ball stan. I ain't even gonna say I'm a fan, I'm a stan. I ain't even gonna lie to you. Like, I have Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, Super, and GT all on Blu-ray. The background to my computer is literally a montage of Dragon Ball people. And of course I watched Daima. Like, there ain't no question about that. I watched that. And currently have Spark and Zero. Yeah. So, anybody want to throw them hands, holler at your boy, PSN, Wise the Nemesis. So, that's, pretty much it with, with my anime. Now, I will say that I've seen a lot of other stuff, though, and I do like it. Like, behind Dragon Ball, I'd say Bleach would be my second favorite. Like, Bleach is that shit. It is literally like one of my, again, behind Dragon Ball, my favorite. I did watch My Hero. My Hero was cool. I'm not a One Piece fan like that. I tried watching the first 25 episodes, I think it was, and I couldn't get into it. Like I said, I'm not gonna say it's bad because I'm not a person that go and bash other animes because I don't like it. It's just not for me. It seemed alright, but like I said, for me, it wasn't enough to hold my attention. And honestly, if I stuck in for 25 episodes, that's way more than what I give anything else. I usually give you a 3-episode maximum. If nothing move in them 3, nah, that's it. Shit, like the animes that I watch, a lot of them usually are done by episode 25. Hell, Cowboy Bebop, I want to say is like 20, I think it's like 25, 26 episodes. I can't do it. And then the fact that it's still going on, that's another thing in itself. Because you look at how big it is and that it's still ongoing. It really is intimidating. Like, to know it's 1,000+ episodes of this one anime. Like, the shit been running for like 20 years, almost 20 years. Crazy. It's like trying to watch The Simpsons. Like, I tried that and I didn't get far, and I'm talking about starting from the first episode and coming up. Nah, that ain't no catching that. Can't do that. Like I said, One Piece is just, it ain't for me, and it's not to say that it's bad or it's trash. It's just, I couldn't get into it. My girl did put me on Avatar: The Last Airbender, and I'm actually a little mad that I didn't watch that as it, like, in real time, because I don't know where people stand on calling that an anime, but I feel like it would be. I consider it an anime, and I think it's a pretty damn good show. The Boondocks. Some people call it a cartoon. Some people call it an anime. If you look at a lot of the art directors and everything, they were Japanese, but I don't know if they made it in Japan. I don't think they did. But yeah. That's just where I stand with the anime shows. We finished Attack on Titan. My girl liked that a lot. That's all I'm going to say about it. It was okay. It was okay. Again, for me to call something trash, I literally would have to, it would have to just check all my boxes and just have me like, yo, what am I doing? Like, that's how I feel about Batman vs. Superman. That was probably one of the worst movies I've seen, and it was bad for me. And again, for me to say that, it had to have been something, because I literally give everything just grace. Like, you know what? Maybe this, maybe that. We're not going to say it's this. We're not going to say it's that. Nah. For me to call something bad, it's got to be horrible. Yeah, but like I said, with this podcast is just me giving my thoughts, my views, and my opinions on just those different topics. You know, a lot of stuff that I say I don't expect everybody to agree with, you know, but I do know it's somebody, or I hope, I ain't gonna say I know, I hope it's somebody that feel where I'm coming from on that subject or that point of view with things. Yeah, I'm actually really nervous doing this. I'm real nervous because, like I said, I don't wanna mess up. You know, I want people to want to hear me. I want people to share their thoughts and, you know, be able to say, I like that. Nah, I don't like that. This is how I feel about this. This is how I feel about that. Eventually, as this grows, I plan on bringing on people to be able to have these conversations with. So it won't always be just this golden silky voice you hear all the time. You're going to hear other people. You're going to hear other opinions. You're going to hear other point of views on things, which I'm cool with that because, again, people can agree to disagree. People can have separate opinions, and it's cool because that's what drives conversation. That's what keeps us talking. That's what keeps things interesting, or at least that's how I feel about it. So yeah, with this episode, I didn't plan on it being like a long episode. I did just want to let you guys know who I was and where I'm from a little bit about your boy, you know, about your cool ass homie. So whenever you see the next one come up, you know, definitely listen in. I'll be able to dive deeper into a lot more subjects, especially with this whole video game hike situation that's going on. Like, I find it ridiculous that they literally think it's cool to charge $80 for a base game. It's no season pass attached to this. It's no extra stuff that you get with it. It's just the base game for $80. And y'all expect us to be cool with that. Now, in the case of Nintendo, I just had a conversation with my boy about this earlier today. I was saying I understand that that's the only place that you be able to play anything in Mario. You get Mario Kart. I understand that. You know, again, they're usually pretty good about what they give you as far as content. But if I'm paying $80 for a game, I don't expect any DLC. And if the DLC comes, it's got to be free for it to make sense. I can't see that. They all say, you know, oh, production costs more, you know, we got more people working, and that's fine. But once you leave the stratosphere of Nintendo and move over to Microsoft and Sony, I ain't trying to hear that shit. I'm still wrapping my head around paying $70 for a video game when the game has to get a day one patch or something is broken or something is missing from the game. And you expect me to pay more? Again, I'm still wrapping my head around paying 70. Y'all fools talking about 80 plus? And I remember when, I think it was like, maybe it was last year or the year before last, and they was talking about GTA 6 being $100. At the time, people were like, oh nah, they tripping. Ain't nobody finna pay $100 for no damn Grand Theft Auto. But you look at where we at right now, it's crazy. Because I know for a fact GTA ain't going to be less than $80. I'm sure of that one. You don't think Rockstar going to capitalize on somebody trying to up the ante for the premium? Because think about it, Borderlands 4 comes out in September. The CEO was like, he doesn't know if it's going to be $80 or not, which it more than likely will be. I hope it's not, but it more than likely will be. He's saying he don't know. And they saying, again, all of these people, we got on the team, we got double this and double that. Okay, that's fine. But what, as a consumer, what does that have to do with me? Why does that cost have to roll back onto me? Because if the game is the same quality that it was in the last three mainline games, the last three mainline games, why should that fall on me to have to pay this extra fee? Y'all gonna make the money back. I don't understand that. I mean, we know you're gonna come out with DLCs. We know that. We understand that. But it's just like, why pinch the penny when you don't need to? Because now you pissing everybody off especially in a time where we're not sure what the finance is going to be. You know, people want to support the shit, but if you make it hard and be like, you know, well, a real fan will find a way to do it, which that's what he said, and pissed a lot of people off. I think he tweeted it. Pissed, like, had everybody upset. And, you know, and these dedicated fans, these people that probably have the pre-sequel, Tiny Tina, and the Telltale games, they probably got those. That's not a cool situation to do. And then, you know, other companies are looking at this as well. They all are looking like, oh yeah, we finna get all these people. You know, we gonna get them all, because why not? They charging this. I think my game is better than that, and you gonna get that. You know, that's why you gotta appreciate the games like is it Expedition 33? That game was, I think it was $50. It definitely wasn't a premium. People will argue it's not a AAA game, but I bet you that game get nominated for Game of the Year. I tell you that. These are just my feelings. This is just, you know, how I feel about these things. And like I said, I don't expect everybody to agree. I'm just glad that you're listening. Once this episode comes out, hopefully this was engaging enough for you to be like, you know, let me see what this episode 2 gonna be like. Because again, episode 2 is coming. This ain't the one and done. This just, I don't believe that I finally did this. Definitely appreciate y'all pulling up and hanging out with your boy for a bit. You know what I'm saying? You know, it means a lot to me that I was able to share this, you know, moment with y'all. Like, thank you. Moving forward, I mean, this is what you're going to get, you know, so I'm trying to set the expectation. The music going to be on point. You know, I did the intro and the outro. You know, like I said, your boy on the beats. So again, you know, I definitely appreciate y'all for pulling up and hanging out with your boy for a bit. You know, I'm your cool ass homie Wise. And thank you for listening to I Gotta Do This podcast real quick.